So Hot Meowth is the champion at the end of the day, knocking out the previous world champion attendee in Tare. I mean, my name is TJ. I'm joined by Admiral Core, of course. Admiral, what did you think of that one? It went all the way to game number 7. Came down to an intense Druid mirror. How'd you think of that grand final?
I mean, you could just kind of feel the emotion coming through both players in this finals. The pace of play was just blistering fast at times. You know, Teray reminded himself to kind of slow down and figure out the right turns. And then coming down to Game 7 in Druid versus Druid, we saw Emperors on both sides. We saw Moonglade Portals on both sides. We saw Yogg-Sothoth on both sides. But in the end, when you pit Wits and Will against luck, it has to be decided by the cards.
Yeah, very high velocity is a big thing. And Cora, going into this one, a lot of players had sort of underestimated Hot Meowth. None of the sort of people on the analyst desk predicted him. Nobody really sort of gave him the time of day as far as predicting him to win the whole thing. A lot of people were looking at Dude. You were looking at Topo Pablo. So what do you think of Hot Meowth's performance across the entire bracket and not just in the grand finals?
I think he was certainly very impressive. He had a really clean run in the preliminaries to make it to this tournament, and then he took out some absolutely fantastic players to win the entire tournament. So definitely Tare, not an easy player to defeat, and it did end up going all the way to Game 7. So really, what a way to crown a champion. No other way than a really, really exciting Druid Mirror and 7 action-packed games. So I think definitely very deserving.
He defeated Dude early in the day, which was impressive. And, he defeated... Yeah, it was a 4-0 against Dude early in the day, so really impressive stuff. I want to talk about sort of his lineup overall. He had a really interesting strategy. It was sort of like a strategy where he was trying to do a lot of things at once. He was trying to counter the best decks while also being able to be good against the rest of the field and having some decks that were a little bit inconsistent. Admirable, is this a strategy that we're going to see more of in the future, especially as we talk about best of 7 conquests and the things there, or do you think this is just something that is a Hot Meowth style of play?
Well, something about the nature of this format is like you will have core strategies that come into it. Something that was really interesting was his take on Warrior. We've been seeing Control Warrior be kind of left by the wayside as Dragon Warrior was the most popular deck. Both players in the finals had some form of Control Warrior in their lineup. They both had some form of Zoo. They both had Hunter. That's like a really big thing to think about when you're looking at these lineups. The fact that Dragon Warrior was very dominant, Control Warrior ended up being the best at the end. The Hunters had a lot of variation between them. Maybe there's something going on there between the builds. But I really think a big catalyst to it was kind of just the strength of Hot Meowth's potential draws. I mean, having Malchezaar's Imp into Doomguard is a huge swing in the game.
Yeah, it really is. It had some inconsistencies early on in the tournament, but it really did some work in those final 2 matches, semifinals and finals. So, Cora, there are a lot of great players competing in the World Championship already. We have Amnesiac, we have Handsome Guy, we have Tice, we have Name It. I mean, and across the board, they're all really strong players with a lot of Hearthstone experience. Hot Meowth is coming in as sort of maybe a little bit of a newbie. How is he going to stack up in just a few months when we do get to that World Championship?
I mean, Hot Meowth is certainly the underdog, but, when most of the community are players who don't have this experience, don't get to play in competitive tournaments, and especially not at the BlizzCon stage, they love to root for an underdog and somebody who can really represent the every man or woman, the every Hearthstone player. So I think that is definitely going to get him a little bit of attention, but then, of course, we've got those huge names like Tice, Naaman, Dione, all these guys who are on very well-established teams who have a lot of really dazzling credentials. So Hot Meowth certainly has a lot to live up to. But you know what? Going up against the stack, certainly he's already proven himself.
Yeah, he definitely has proven himself against more experienced players, especially in the finals. And, he does have a lot of experience playing in those open tournaments. But is he going to be able to, Admirable, translate sort of that open tournament experience and sort of this one big LAN that he's won? Is he going to be able to translate that into a 16-player best in the world tournament when we go to the World Championship?
I mean, that's what we have the tournament for, right, is to see the journey that they've come through to get to this point and how it ends up stacking up. Hot Meowth, this was his 3rd preliminary that he had played in, all the locations at the esports arena. And he's been taking it pretty seriously while he's there. He obviously likes to have a little bit of fun when he's playing the game. Obviously frustration can get to you at times. But this wasn't like a one and off thing for Hot Meowth. This was his 3rd shot to try to get to a championships, and this time he got there and he won the whole thing. So I think he's built quite a bit of experience over the course of this year.
Yeah, definitely. And he put up a good show in the finals, put up a good show throughout the entire time. And standing by with our champion, Hot Meowth, it's Frodan to walk us through his road to be the America's champion.
Thank you very much, TJ. That's right. I'm joined by America's Summer Champion, Hunt Meowth. Congratulations again. I think that definitely in order. Let's go ahead and just start off with just the conversation of what really do you think gave you an edge above everyone else at this tournament?
So my lineup, I mainly want to I guess I try to target at first, try to target specific lineups, but it didn't work out because the most meta I guess boring meta decks, the strongest decks are just too strong. So I had to bring the best decks, and I try to maybe tech a little bit to target control. So my line was just target control and fare decently against other strong meta decks.
Yeah, you specifically brought a very different lineup. You were bringing Murloc Paladin and stuff. So you wanted to bring that originally to the tournament, but you just felt like it wasn't a good spot, right?
I feel the problem of I wanted to bring Freeze Mage and Zoo, but the problem is Murloc Paladin and Freeze Mage it's a high skill cap deck, and I think I'm not experienced enough. As in on stream I would mess up because the stress level playing on stream is a lot I don't know, a lot more difficult to play a high level deck on stream than it is on ladder. But I really like combo decks in general. It's kind of sucks that I just had to bring the best boring meta decks
I guess you can
win.
Practice them before BlizzCon, obviously, but we'll be seeing you back for BlizzCon, which is really awesome. Let's go ahead and just walk through each of your wins specifically. It was a lot of games. We don't want to go through all 7 of them, but let's just talk about that first win that you're able to get through Hunter. Starting also with Hunter versus Hunter, which was a very fast game. Now, the Warrior versus Hunter. Excuse me. Why don't you talk a little bit about what was the key to this matchup in your opinion?
I feel I want to kill in Hunter first. Second, because after he won Zoo against Shaman. I think my best bet is Hunter, because it's pretty decent against his other decks since Zoo is gone, and I know he probably Tari he's kind of shows me as a person that will just kill the deck that has the best probability against all overall against all the decks. So Hunter is a pretty good choice against Warrior, and that's why I chose it in this, and it's pretty straightforward. I don't know. There's not much to say, but you just have to keep up the aggression and just don't give the board to him. So there it is.
You mentioned that Warrior was banned every time against you, which people tend to look at the best performing decks based off wins, but we can also look at bans being a sign of strength. Do you really think that Warrior was that strong, or do you feel people misplaced their ban?
I think it's pretty strong because I brought Control Warrior. It's Cypher and Rosty's list. Rosty took out Bloodbreaker for Doomsayer, but that deck is really strong against most of the strong meta decks. I think that's the reason why people ban it. Of course Monsanto dude ban it because they have Freeze Mage and combo decks, and it generally does well against it. So I can't understand the reason why they just ban it. And I kind of want to bring Control Warrior running Dragon Warrior because last time I played Dragon Warrior, people won't ban it, so I need a ban target, and I don't want them to ban my Shaman because I'm most comfortable playing with my aggro Shaman and mid-range Shaman.
Do you feel Hunter is a good deck to play on ladder for people who just want to start climbing their way to ACT next year?
Hunter, I say it's best against control and mid-range decks, slower decks.
Mm-hmm.
Against aggro decks like Shaman, it kind of struggles a little bit. So I would say my Hunter deck is better against aggressive decks, but I just kind of bring it 4th and 5th deck because I think ladder rise is just Jude, Shaman, Warrior. It's too strong, those 3 classes.
Fair enough. Speaking of Shaman, the second win that you're able to get, which, ended up pulling you back into the series because you started off 0-2. Yeah. What's some of the keys to this Shaman deck that you feel? Because it does have some other tools like Maelstrom Portal, but you only had one of them. Some people are including different techs and whatnot, and you also had Lightning Storm. So what was the reason behind some of these choices in Shaman?
I just think with one Maelstrom Portal and one Storm, it's just a good balance of how aggressive you want to be, and you can always come back against mirrors Shaman mirrors and Zoo. You can always come back with Lightning Storm and Maelstrom. So it fares a little bit better against aggressive mirrors, I guess, aggro mirrors or mid-range mirror Jude, since if they run token Jude, Maelstrom is pretty good and Lightning Storm is pretty good too. But I originally wanted to bring mid-range Shaman, but it didn't make sense because I banned mid-range Shaman over Warrior, and I think aggro Shaman fares a little bit better against the Warrior decks people bring. I don't know if it makes sense. People probably think mid-range Shaman is good against Dragon Warrior and Controller, but I like to stick with my comfort picks. That's why I just brought the aggro Shaman I got top 15 with last season.
Yeah, I mean, you were posting screenshots of when you hit #1, right, with
Yeah.
it, and then eventually
Just showing off.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'd show off. Feel free to brag anytime you hit #1, and make sure to, of course, posting the list is good for information there. And of course,
it's not my list.
yeah.
It's Sixo's list, but it's
There
like
you go.
the Maelstrom and Lightning Storm attack is what makes it like slightly better for me.
Okay,
at
fair enough.
least.
For the tournament, I mean, it seemed to work
Yeah.
out fine.
Yeah.
Cool. The third deck is the Warlock deck that you brought. Now, this one has been contentious, and I think Brian Kibler said like 5 or 6 times that you didn't feel confident in it. After the tournament and seeing that you won with it in your lineup, do you still feel the same way?
I feel like the problem with Zoo is like Karazhan just released like not long ago, so
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
there's not like a perfect Zoo list, so it's still kind of experimental with discard lock. But it's like I think discard lock is slightly better than standard Zoo, even though like I think Tower Zoo is better in this tournament just cause it's a safer pick and it worked out for him too. So I think my Zoo deck it's alright. It's kind of unrefined, so there might be a better list. But I have faith in Muzzy, even though like it's kind of like it's like first few days of the season, so it's kind of hard to tell like if it's good or not. But it ended up doing all right.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it got the wins, which is the most important thing. I think people are always like very interested in the specific card choice. So why are you, or why Muzzy, if you talk to him, or why do you like Demon Fire in the list? Because that is a very unusual
Well,
card
I
that you
think
don't
Muzzy kind of talked to Dude or something. Like they didn't expect like people to bring his deck because like it's kind of like still experimental. But
see. He was messing around.
yeah, he was just messing around. But like
Yeah.
I got to Legend this season with Muzzy's Zoo deck, so I kind of had faith from there on. So I just brought it because I want to try something new.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and it's funny too because Abar also trusted it too, and you guys end up bringing a similar list as well. Too bad it didn't work out as well for him. Do you feel like this Zoo Warlock and his build is ladder viable? You said you got to Legend with it, but how far do you think you can really go? Is it like a top tier deck, or is it just like a deck that you can play with other?
I don't
ones?
know if it's the hotel Wi-Fi, but once I got Legend with my Zoo deck, like I played the Zoo deck a few times in at the hotel where I'm staying. I kept losing. Like sometimes it disconnects. Sometimes I don't know. Like it feels like my opponent not draw. But I'm currently like almost bottom Legend, trying to get back up there.
You're giving more excuses for why people can't hit Legend. No, yeah, if I had more time and my hotel Wi-Fi was better. But
Yeah.
I know. I'm just kidding. I disconnected a couple of times as well, so happens. It's frustrating, of course. The fourth deck is Druid. Now, people are putting Druid as just one of the top 2 classes in the game right now. The deck, despite it being a little bit hard, is also extremely flexible and powerful. What do you personally rank Druid right now? People are saying it might be even the best, even though Shaman has the best win percentages.
Best deck in the game.
You think so?
Yeah, 6 Faith Druid. It's like I think Faith is Korean Pro. I don't remember, but it's made by 6-0 and Faith, and I feel like it's just like near perfect. Like some people like don't like it because like they don't have Ancient Wars and like they don't have the token package, so it might be weaker against like I guess aggressive decks, but or I guess like Chargers in general. But I feel like this deck is just good. Like the Auctioneer, like it's just like you just always have Steam because you have 2 Nourish and Auctioneer. Like sometimes you just ramp out with Nourish, so it's just a pretty broken deck.
Are you mentioned 6-0 a lot, and as you're crediting him with a lot of the influence on your lineup, is he practicing with you, or are you just kind of observing him from a distance, hoping that Senpai knows?
Well, he didn't practice me. He's just good at like deck building, and he always has a good deck. So kind of always net deck him because he's just that good.
Well, there you go. The true secret comes out to success in Hearthstone Champions Tour. Apparently, you're just copying decks from 6-0.
Well, I changed a few cards, but
Right. Of course, I'm just. Joking.
His decks are really good.
Yeah, certainly. I can't disagree with that. And you've seen players like Frozen and Muzzy also use his deck to climb very high as well. Okay, well, that's pretty much all of the decks here. Is there, before I give off my spiel and end the show, is there any people you want to thank as well, or kind of last comments you want to make? Because you are a very interesting figure that's qualified for BlizzCon. We have personalities all across the board, but you're very unique.
Maybe I'll try to be less edgy, and with the prize money, I'll do a makeover and get a new haircut and try to
Don't let anyone criticize your
try to
hairstyle.
become a become a stud. Learn to become a stud with a better attitude. But
Maybe you should work on your your riffs and guitar chords first.
Yeah, I just want to shout out to like all the people who helped me practice to help me get to like the championship and win from there. Like shout out to Derpy Troller, Curry 97 Gallon, Demigod. They're like they're part of the Skype group called it was Team KYS, but it's kind of inappropriate, so now it's Team XD. So it's still a meme. So
Still
there you go.
triggers me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to my family, my mom, my sister. It's like everyone who supports me. It's just like I thank them a lot, and everyone on Twitter, like they just like really helped me. So
Awesome.
I pulled through, so I'm happy.
All right. Well, congratulations once again, Hot Meowth. You're going to BlizzCon representing the Americas region, and that is it for the summer season for this region. The only person that's going to be able to qualify is through last call next month, which brings us, by the way, to our championship schedule. We are going to be broadcasting next week at 9 a.m. Pacific, same channel here at twitch.tv/playhearthstone, September 24th to 25th. Watch repeat performances by George C. and Dr. Hippie go up against the field of the European players. And of course, on September 30th and October 1st at 9 p.m. Pacific, we're going to have the Asia Pacific Summer Championship, which I personally hope we get to see Ping Ping Ho again, because that'd be funny for 3 seasons in a row. Or maybe Handsome Guy makes a return as well. Find out then in 2 weeks. But until then, we are done here. So from Frodan, the casters, the players, and everyone here for the Hearthstone Championship Tour, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for Europe.